It's Stocks and it's Logan and it's actually Lord. He's joining us for the first time. This is the video portion of the podcast, and we're gonna go live in about 5 seconds. First time ever, so hang with us, fellas. It should be a good time. Never know what's gonna happen when it goes live. That's kind of the fun, isn't it?
Of course.
Of course, I have to update something before we can go live, but that should be no problem. Again, see, I tell you, we go live, and you never know what's gonna happen. Um,
What is it having you do?
just a few little things. All right, we should go live any second now. We should be live. How are we doing, fellas? We haven't talked.
University of Michigan.
Of course, they gotta do an advertisement. Luckily, they
This
get.
is live TV, man. This is what we're talking about. We gotta pay the bills.
I want to make sure everyone can hear us since we had all those weird things happen, but we should be live in about 5 seconds after this University of Michigan ad ends.
Oh, see, I got Sarah Lee going.
Yeah.
I got a droid commercial.
it's all the internet, man. Nothing's for free these days. So we should be live now. It says Ustream live, so hopefully we're live. Hopefully the guys can tell us if they can hear us. I know the Tennessee Titans is in the room with us right now, and hopefully he'll get back to us. But we are recording this, so if, it doesn't work out live, we're still recording it the old-fashioned way. Isn't it funny? I just said the old-fashioned way, and we're talking about the internet and all these fancy gadgets, but it is an old-fashioned way, and we're recording that way. But let's get on to the topics at hand. What do you think of the Steelers winning the Super Bowl? Lord, you from the AFC.
I kind of saw it coming. He was getting close, and his defense and that run game, how his offensive line, you just can't shed his blockers. It's insane. So I knew if he didn't make the mistakes trying to throw the ball too much, he'd have a good shot at it.
Well, I think like me and Stocks, and even you've been here a long time, and he's a long time owner. He's been with us for a long time, and he didn't have Remember in I think it was 11, he dominated. We had the fantasy rosters. He had a nice team, and he was virtually unstoppable with some of his players. But I think it was a lot undershadowed how good an actual player he is, because he had all these good players, and I knew it was only a matter of time before he became a really good player.
Yeah, his user skills as a linebacker in Madden 11 were some of the best I've seen. So, yeah, you knew it was a matter of time before he put it all together.
Unfortunately, me and Stocks don't really get to see him a whole bunch of times, but because we don't usually play him. But I think we do. At least I do play him this year. What about you, Stocks? Do you play him at all?
Oh well, yeah. I did end up playing him in the fantasy team in 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was the only time I've played him. And looking over the stats the whole year, and the way his style, his play is he runs the ball and he plays defense. He plays simple Madden ball, and that gets him championships. Like you said, he was due for a championship.
Yeah, and I think the reason they couldn't hear us is because I didn't hit play after the advertisement. So now they should be able to hear us. And but like you were saying, that guy and all his user skills, eventually he was going to get over the hump. I have to mention though, the Eagles did a very, very classy thing. I don't know how many guys know about this yet, so let's give this guy a round of applause if you will, because that game got disconnected, and I think the Steelers was up 38-7, fellas, and the game gets disconnected going into the third quarter. I believe I was in the chat live, and that's a horrible feeling to get disconnected. During a Super Bowl, that's just horrible. No one wants to see that. So I got to give him a lot of credit for, they restarted the game. the Eagles said, "I'll make sure you win. You definitely beat me in the first game. It was EA's fault the disconnection happened." So he really showed a lot of class.
Yeah, that's going up and beyond, what the Call of Duty is, because you could be in the gray area by saying, oh, I had something going when it disconnected. And no, we definitely give hats off to the Eagles owner, and that's great for our league, to have stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. Not say, well, complete restart. We weren't in the fourth yet or something.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
I found it remarkable because we've had a lot of bickering, I guess you could say. This not being sim, this being sim. Guys' competitiveness comes out, and they don't want to hear it. They want to be the best. You want to win. I mean, no one wants to lose. So, but for this guy to be like, you definitely beat me in the Super Bowl, the biggest game of them all, and say, let's just have a fun game. I'll make sure you win. That's what Gridiron's all about. I thought it was fitting it happened in the Super Bowl too, because like I said, we've had a lot of ups and downs, and yet in the Super Bowl, the biggest game, you've seen that sportsmanship that Manny's always talked about in our league, and that was great.
Yeah, it carried over, and it's only gonna an episode like that is only gonna make everybody else a little bit better, and learn from it and see, okay, yeah, this guy did that, and maybe this time I won't do something that's questionable because this guy's going out of his way.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that I know we didn't get a podcast out for the Super Bowl or the playoffs entirely. So let's give some of these guys some. I think the Vikings had a nice run. He obviously has Dallas Strong and Adrian Peterson, and that makes it very tough to stop him. Did you play him this year, Lord? Because I know I play him twice a year.
I think last year I played him. I don't think I did this year.
Well, he didn't change up his team a lot, so what he did last year is pretty much what he did this year. He made it pretty far in the playoffs. Again, me and Stocks are going to turn away a little bit from the statistics of the game because we don't think it matters as much. So we're going to give you just insight, results, and that's about it. But we can look at the stats somewhat, but these games, I think the biggest upset, I think you guys would agree, was the Colts beat the Bengals in the wild card, I think, in the first weekend of the playoffs. So that was exciting. What do you think of the...
Yeah, the Colts ended up beating them 22-20.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how that division, we've talked about the Stocks multiple times about how that division, is, no defense, we didn't know how strong that division was, we didn't know who was coming out of the division, if anyone was ever going to make a push, and this guy kind of shocked the world, if you will.
Yeah, the whole Colts thing is, we've always talked about how the Colts aren't a very active team, and doesn't make huge trades, doesn't make big splashes, but you go and look how he's come along. Just he's a great owner, just because he gets his games played. You don't hear very controversial things about him. He's one of those guys that just comes in, plays his games, and leaves.
Yep.
And he shows that you can make a run and you can beat a good team by not having to, trade everybody, doing the whole trade thing and signing all these big players. And so, yeah, the Colts are a great, image of how you can get things done by just,
right.
being a good Madden player. You know what I mean? You don't even have to be that great, on the Extreme Football website,
Right. I will say, I mean, of all the controversy going on during the season, the playoffs really showed that we have some really good owners, and maybe we need to take a step back from this sim, non-sim stuff, because in the playoffs, we showed that there's some really good people here. I want to ask Lord really quick what he would think if his quarterback went out for a whole year. Peyton Manning was done last year. He was injured in Madden, and he had to go with, I think, Painter all season long, didn't he, Stacks? I mean, so I think that's who the Colts ran with a lot of the time. I don't think Peyton Manning was healthy last year. as an owner, how does that really affect you having to run with your backup all year, knowing you're not really going to be able to make a big push? Because we all know franchise quarterbacks make make and break a team.
Yeah, for a guy like me, it'd be devastating because I like to throw the ball a lot. And it's more the fun factor for me. I just have more fun throwing it than running and running. But there's some people that it's not that. Maybe even Burr with his Steelers. If Big Ben went down, he probably wouldn't miss a beat. But a guy like me, it hurt a lot. I'd have to try a shorter game, maybe more drags, and the plays I don't like to do a whole lot. Drags and screens.
I think you're right. I think a guy like Burr of the Steelers, it wouldn't bother him so much, but for me and you, the gunslingers, we like to throw it around a little bit. I know Stocks is a big fan of Brett Favre in his day, so he definitely knows what it's like to throw it around a bit, and having Drew Brees. But, not having Peyton Manning, not having your leader, it really affects you, even though this is just a game. So I was glad to see, the Colts made a push in the playoffs. Oh, and I was just glad to see because I beat the Colts this year. It was one of my 3 wins or my 4 wins, so to see a team I beat go into the playoffs and make some noise, even though, that was my only victory that I beat him, and I was all happy for it. So I was pulling for the Colts. He couldn't pull another upset yet, but he did good. What do you think of the Eagles roster going forward into next season?
That Eagles roster is sick.
It really is. But
just a secondary, your eyes just wow.
Nami Asamoah.
The linebacker, and he's got guys 5th, 6th on his linebacker depth chart that would probably start on my team.
Isn't that remarkable? He's got guys sitting on the bench that would start for teams like Lord Stocks. That tells you how good this team is.
Yeah, the whole thing with the Eagles is his cap. And the players, like as we said, we're maybe going one more season. Is he able to hold that roster with the amount of money, you know what I mean, with all these superstars on his team? I think that's more of a challenge than anything with his team.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah, to have a talent like Deshaun Jackson, and it's like he never even has to go to him. He's got so many weapons. It's like.
And well, I'll tell you right now, we're gonna go back to the live stream for just a minute here. I don't know if this is gonna work because I finally figured it out. If I have it on and record it for YouTube, it's gonna echo drastically. So we're gonna forget the live stream for a while. I will say I have big plans on bringing me and Stocks back to video. So even though this live stream didn't work, me and Stocks might be back to video real quick, but. Lord was a good guy. He stepped in to give us some kind of a different feel and kind of make it special. So thanks to him for doing that. Unfortunately, I don't think this live thing's going to work. But, I think this is a good show nonetheless. I think we're getting through a lot of content. We're talking about a lot of things. Let's just end this live thing because it isn't working. But, now, I know me and Stocks have been really critical of the Eagles. So I want to know, are you critical because... I don't want to speak for Stocks here, but I know we've talked a lot about how the Eagles have this amazing roster, how they have all these guys, like you said, that catch your eye and make you go, wow, and all these things, but yet they've only been to the Super Bowl once. Is that just a product of his division? I mean, I honestly think he's a little bit overhyped, I'm not going to lie. But maybe I'm just being harsh because he's got the Giants in his division, and the Cowboys surprise you every once in a while, so... Am I just being too critical on the guy?
A little. He's been in the playoffs every year, hasn't he?
I think so.
So yeah, once you get in the playoffs, any team, the Colts just showed it this year. Any team can beat anybody, but him getting there shows he knows what he's doing somewhat.
It's possible I'm too critical on people. That happens quite a bit. I'm just saying, I don't know, with that roster, I would expect a Super Bowl. Not saying he didn't do a good job, and I'm sure he would agree with this, being a football-minded guy as he is. when you have a roster like that, it's Super Bowl or bust. It's that way in real life, and I think it's that way, you know, if you have a great Madden team. I think Burr would say the same thing about his Madden 11 team, back for the old timers who remember that. You know, when you had Kelvin Johnson and all these, you know, great guys in the fantasy roster. When you have a good team like that, you got to win. And if you don't, you know, people are going to be critical of you. And like I said, I think he's a great owner. I think he will make the playoffs again next year. I think he'll keep making the playoffs as long as we play. You know, I don't think we play after this season, but we'll see. But I think he'll make the playoffs. The push for me, though, you got to get over the hump, you know, with that good a roster. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too critical. Like, it's possible.
Well, the thing now is that he did make a run, and he did, come up one game short. So you're gonna have to start giving this guy his credit, his due, because he's making it work for him, and he's making runs deep into the playoffs.
Yeah.
The thing is he is probably getting used to having all these superstars on his team. You know, we always use the slogan, too many cooks in the kitchen, but he's got too many cooks in the kitchen, but he's got the pot stirring up now.
Yeah, he's learning that chemistry, what works, you know, what
so
ingredients
I
to throw in the pot to make it, you know, to make it taste good. So yeah, you're right. He's making it work.
So I think him getting used to those, you know, those superstars on his team are finally paying off, and you have to give him credit now.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll bend over and kiss his virtual toe or something, and finally start giving him some credit. But he definitely needs something. I think you guys convinced me of that. It's just, I don't know. I know I'm critical, but when you have that much talent, I don't know. I guess I just expect it. So, like I said, I usually am the one who takes the hate on this podcast. So, again, you know, use your little fingers and type in a message.
Well, you know what's coming up next for the next season then? There's going to be a little pressure on you.
Hey, there's no pressure on me. I suck, man. That's been known forever.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to start turning the crowd over to the Detroit Lions team this year because what we've been hearing and what we've been seeing. So,
That's going to be a nice roster.
Exactly. So, get ready.
Yeah, but the problem is he can actually win. I can't win.
You better find some way because you're under pressure.
That's my thing. I haven't been in the playoffs yet, so I'm not going to be critical of somebody who has. So it's not right of me to say, yeah, he should be playing better when I feel I should be there and I haven't yet. So
I get it. The heat's turned on my cheeks. Okay. But I'm just saying, man, I don't know. I think, talking about my roster, I think I'll have a nice roster. What are some of the nice rosters in Madden 13 that you can see? I don't know how many progressions you guys have seen. Maybe your own teams even. Any progressions that stick out on you? I know we're officially in the off season now.
Yeah. On my side, the trade that I made with you last year to move up in the draft and grab another tight end in Cole, he went from a 89 to a 92.
Yep.
And he's actually above Jimmy Graham right now in overall.
You're signing Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
Breaking news on the podcast.
Yeah, well,
Doctor signing his
given.
best player. Yeah, okay.
That's definitely a given.
Yeah.
That was my big surprise.
Yeah. Well, that'd be like me not signing Kelvin Johnson and letting him go to free agency. You knew that wasn't going to happen. I would like to talk to Lord about our trade. We made a pretty big deal. I know you retracted a little bit by trading it to the Steelers eventually, but you gave me A.J. Hawk, which I'm very happy about. But tell people what this Harris guy is all about, because a lot of people they're not really. I mean, I think once they play me, they'll be like, oh wow, he might be as good as Revis, who I also have, by the way. So watch out.
yeah, he's solid. He was my number one cornerback the last couple of years. He's great in run support. He sticks with his man pretty well. Doesn't seem to have a weakness other than maybe a tad bit on the slow side for some people. But
Well, his one weakness I did see, and this is why I was debating Carr, but his upside was too much with the 99 man. And I don't know if you saw his regressions, but he's got 99 man now and 96 zone. And, like you said, he's not just a one-stop corner. He can also defend and the run a little bit and help out in that department. The one thing I did see, though, and I can bring back stocks on this one, what do you think of the play recognition? Because his play recognition is only 57,
Yeah, that's
but that's his only weakness. I mean,
it's
99
kind of a
man.
yeah. You got a seesaw battle going there with certain, if you're playing a team that has a lot of, let's say, play action passes, that may hinder him with those 99s, because a play recognition would be, okay, let's say Cam Newton's rolling out to the right and faking the handoff.
Yeah.
Is he going to get burnt beat even though he's at 99 man, because his play recognition is so low that, let's say, like Andre Johnson just beats him deep because of that. So you got that seesaw battle where you have to kind of give him help over the top for a specific play like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the times I'll see it are when I heard play recognition really factors in, again, like you said, the play action obviously, and fade routes and jump balls. But with a guy with 99 man and 96 zone playing by second cornerback, it was too tempting to pass up.
Yeah.
But Lord, going back to our trade, why did you trade AJ Hawk? Was it just time to move him and see what you could get?
Honestly, I thought he was going to drop a little. I have him in my other franchise in this year, and he dropped down to 82, I think it was, and I thought maybe that would happen here. So I'm like, I got a chance to get a good pick, and I thought I'd go for it, try to get an impact player, but I ended up trading the pick anyhow. So.
I think you ended up making a pretty good move for yourself. Why don't you tell the people what you did?
I traded the first and a player I got from the Jets, a free safety, for wide receiver Mike Wallace and 2 late first-round picks.
So you're going to possibly get at least a bona fide wide receiver, a guy who can really stretch the field, a guy who's an honest, threat. When someone sees Mike Wallace, they're going to know, wow, I'm going to have to cover this guy. And then you're going to possibly get 2, back of the end starters. So I think that's pretty good, Stocks.
Yeah, that's definitely a good solid trade to, fill some gaps that you have, a couple retirees or, holes that you want to replace, for this year coming up.
Now we know Lloyd got back in the first round. What do you think about the philosophy? Well, we're only on our last season, maybe 2 seasons. A lot of people are either trading out like me, or they're buying in. They're getting multiple first rounds. What's kind of your what kind of way do you lean on that one?
That was for me.
Yeah, that was for you, man.
Okay, my bad. I'm kind of dozing. I was daydreaming about the first round. Yeah. No. In my case, as last year, there was players that I really wanted to target, and I'd like to move up, and I made things work.
Mm-hmm.
This year, looking over it kind of briefly, this year I'm probably just gonna sit still,
Mm-hmm.
And I'll probably play, maybe the free agent market a little bit more than I did last year. Last year I didn't play it as much. So I guess it's more filling the holes that I don't have any big gaping holes. So I don't know if I'm going to shake things up because, I only went 8-8, but I made the playoffs. So it's kind of how my players progressed and what I think I need to improve. And I guess that's when the draft comes, do I go best player available or, so it's kind of hard to say right now. I'd be going by like the seat of my pants by, just taking probably the best player available.
Well, I think the best player available, this draft is really loaded on defense. This is just me, but I wouldn't take an offensive player in the first 15 picks. I really wouldn't. This draft is defense. There's tons of linebackers. There's phenomenal safety. There's cornerback galore. I'm going to throw a couple names out to you guys and read some of the things just to get to, people always want to know about the draft. It happens in real life. You mentioned draft and people automatically, tune in. So to keep those guys happy, let's talk about a few names. The first name I want to mention is a guy named Russ Cherry. He's a cornerback, 5'11", 80 overall. So you think, well, maybe he's not worthy of that selection. But let me read you some of his stats. He's 90 man coverage, 88 zone, 81 press, 98 speed, 74 spectacular catch.
I'll take him.
Definitely.
The only problem is he's got 92 jump and he's only 5'11". So if he is up against a guy like Kelvin Johnson, can he cover? But for a corner, he's got 85 pursuit right out of the box. He can't tackle with anything, so he is just a fast shutdown corner. Maybe potentially. What scares me is he's 92 jump and he's only 5'11". Could he cover a Dwayne Bowe, Kelvin Johnson, Vincent Jackson in your division? So I don't expect this guy to fall, Lord, but would you feel comfortable with a guy like this covering Vincent Jackson?
If I had to, I'd rather put someone a little slower that can
Got a little
make
hype.
the tackle on Vincent Jackson. You put a guy like that who's not going to tackle a big receiver, you could be in some trouble.
Well, let me profile another name for you guys, a guy who I'm really high on. There's no secret about it. If I had the first pick, this is the guy I'd be taking, and probably Alex and Runner and all the guys who are like second, third, fourth, fifth are hoping this guy will drop because they're hoping probably the first round pick isn't this guy. But I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag a little bit. This would be my pick. His name is Buchanan. He's from Michigan. There's no correlation why I would take this guy number
okay.
one.
Oh yeah, there you go. Michigan guy. Okay.
But he's a free safety. He's got 94 speed, 76 spectacular catch, 93 man, 88 zone. He's got 80 pursuit, but he's got 57 tackle, 76 hit power. The only problem is he's 6'1", so he's that big, wide receiver or big corner / free safety. I'd put him at corner. That's why he called him a cornerback. Well, would you guys keep him at free safety, or would you slide him over to corner? Because I think in the NFL he's more of a corner guy. In college, probably a free safety, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's you know what I mean. You could see how he fits in your defense, and yeah, you could probably use him as your number 2 cornerback, definitely.
He's got 83 catching, by the way, too. That's better than some wide receivers. Trust me, I have some of those wide receivers. So I don't think he's they always talk about in the real draft or any draft really. You talk about guys who can plug and play, who are going to be great. You plug them, you play them, they're going to be great guys from day one. Patrick Peterson, he was going to be a great player, But then you got guys, this is going back a little bit, but Vernon Golston, remember he was a workout warrior. Everyone said, oh my God, look at his potential, and he's basically out of the league. So I think you're right, Stock. I think if he fits your system and the big playability is there, 94 speed, 83 catch, he's going to make some crazy interceptions that make you say, wow. Like there isn't enough crazy interceptions in Madden as it is. But I don't think he's the best player. Now, that's the guy I would take number 1, but I like the high risk, go out and, make big plays. The guy who I don't think is getting a lot of credit, and I don't know if you guys have really looked at this, but I can talk about the first round all day because I don't pick till the 4th. So I'm okay giving some guys away, but the big right tackle is really, really interesting to me. I'm going to read you some of his stats. He's 86 speed, 70 strength, 90 pursuit, 85 play recognition. His block shedding's 84. He doesn't really have a fitness move. He does have 86 tackle. He is, he's the guy I'm talking about. He's a plug and play guy. He's not a wow guy, but I think he he could start day one and he'd continue to grow with the team. I think he's a safe pick. Anyone want to take me up on this guy?
Yeah, I was just looking him over. You know, I like the height. You know,
Yeah.
6'6". That's what I always like the height. You know, if he's around 6'6", that's perfect.
He's 6'1". Are you looking at the wrong guy?
6'1".
You're thinking of
Oh.
Jimmy Graham again. You're daydreaming about Jimmy
Oh,
Graham.
yeah. No, I thought you were talking. Who's it? Is it Dean?
No, I'm talking the right end. 86 overall right end. Let me get his name. But he's from, let's see. He's 257 pounds, almost 300 pounds. Well, he's pushing 260 actually. Anyway, he's a very good player. We're probably putting Lord to sleep here, but those are some guys, you know, if they're still there, I would take them. I think he'll go in the top 10 though. Jamario is his first name. I hope he's that much of a sleeper. When I pick, maybe he'll still be in there in the 4th round, but I don't think so. Now, let's get away from the draft a little bit, and we can talk about some of these trades, if you will. Some of these trades are really interesting, and I think they'll help. I want to know what you guys think about me getting Steven Jackson for a 2nd round pick.
I think it's a steal.
Steal?
Steal.
Now, I'll tell you why I got him, quote unquote, that cheap. Is because he was going to be a free agent. The Rams didn't want to pay him, thought he was getting older. He liked a lot of his younger backs. Would you have let Steven Jackson go? He's still a 93 overall. Now, he's not fat. You know, he's not drastically fast anymore. He's, I think, 86 speed. He's still got great carry.
Well, he got Forte to take his spot, so I'm sure he didn't want to pay both of those guys.
You killed my segue, but I was gonna say, but he got Forte from Lord, and so. But I see those guys being a lot alike. I actually like Steven Jackson more than Forte.
Yep, I like Jackson too.
I like Jackson. You know, he's going to get you the short yardage. He can still catch the ball pretty well. He can hammer inside all day. That's the type of runner I like.
Now, a lot of people were down on Forte because he doesn't run like he does in real life. Well, what can you tell the people about Forte or the Rams owner? The good and the bad, I guess.
Well, when he's having a good game, he's unstoppable, but it seems like he only shows up for a game and he's nowhere the next 2 games, and then he shows up again. Like, some games you can't tackle him, another he goes down or fumbles when he barely gets touched.
Sounds like inconsistent, you know.
Yeah, and with the 91 carry, I didn't expect him to fumble 7 times a year for me the last couple of years. So
Wow, yeah.
always in horrible spots, running the game out or something, and there's a Forte fumble.
It was almost a foregone conclusion, huh?
Yeah.
A Forte
I'd
conclusion.
put him in. I'd have McCluster play for a while, and I'll put in Forte to seal the game with his 91 carry. You know, he'll put it on the turf.
Why we
But
got you
his
here?
catching, he's like a wide receiver. I think he's rated 80 or 81 at wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He's solid all around, but
See?
I just got tired of him. Looking for something new, rebuilding my offense.
Well, you've been around forever. We know that you can rebuild it. We know you can. You know, me and Stocks have always kind of told the people, watch out for Lord. I think you could still make a push for this playoffs. I was telling Stocks this, if this is our last season, I love the last season and the first season. I think those two are the most exciting times because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going through a person's head. Is he going to trade out of the first round, go all old like the Jets did? He traded the free safety to you, and you eventually traded it to the Steelers. He gets Brian Urlacher. You know, he's going more, I want to win now. And then you guys like you that pick up, 2 first rounders and a young wide receiver. And so the last season's always interesting because you never know what people are going to do. You never know what free agency is going to look like because people are going to go. You know what's going to happen, fellas. You know, and anyone can answer this. I'll leave it up to anyone. But you know, if you got one player, one need, and it's a huge hole, say it's a running back, for instance, or a quarterback, or whoever it is, and that guy's he's getting overpaid, and then there's a big war because one player can really make and break a Madden team. I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, we always, every year, we're always sitting around right before free agency ends, like, oh my god, I can't believe this guy's making this much, and it's just, I think the market just gets overblown just because of it. 'Cause
Oh,
it can.
it definitely does. It definitely does. I think the first season, you know, always the big names. Remember, I don't know, it was a long time ago, but we did the podcast with Tel Owens and Lawrence Tupu and all these guys, you know, these, you know, household names, you know, that we knew about were free agents. It's not so much that anymore, but I think there'll be some big names. Is there any big names that you think there'll be out there?
On my end, no, I'm not letting go of anybody big.
Well, let me get to Manny posted a freeze list and some guys he was gonna let go, and I know you're a Packers guy, and you know me and Lord are not. He's from Minnesota and I'm the Lions, but we can debate because Manny kind of let us know who he was gonna let go and keep around. He's got 10 guys on the freeze list, which I find remarkable, but that's another story for another day. I don't know why you need to put 10 guys on your freeze list, but again, let's see if I can get this list that Manny has. He has a bunch of guys who he says are going to be free agents, and I was surprised. I know John Kuhn was one of them, the fullback, who's a 90 overall.
Yeah, Kuhn is a quiet guy that you wouldn't really know a lot about. He's good on special teams. You could use him as a running back for short yardage. Great, pass blocker. If you have two wide receivers in the backfield, he'll definitely pick up a chip off the end. So
Now, I can ask Floyd this question. I'll come back to Stockton and some of these other names because I'm really interested in this. But he lost Burnett for his career-ending injury, our first career-ending injury of the gridiron season. And I guess both of you guys can respond to this. It's a first career-ending injury, and we saw a lot of them last year. I think D'Angelo Williams was a Madden 11 career ender.
yeah,
That's really got to mess with Manny's head a little bit. Losing, you knew he was very high on Burnett. He was a starter for I think 2 seasons now, and he's done for his career. And so, do you think that really affects what he does in the draft?
yeah, it's going to be a gaping hole. You
Yeah.
know, he likes his defense, so I would definitely think he's going to target, a top free safety.
Now let me.
Yeah, I know that Burnett's been injured a few times for him, and he hasn't really seemed to miss him a whole lot. So I don't know if it's going to make as big a difference as you would think.
Maybe not. I'll be really interested to see what what happens. I guess Kuhn isn't going to be afraid. He's going to try to sign John Kuhn. So maybe that we'll see what happens with that. But he's got a lot of players up that need to be signed. A lot of players. The Colts have a lot of players. But I'll let you know some of his players that he says for sure are going to go. And it's under the draft thing if anyone wants to look for it. But James Jones, number one guy that pops out at me. Can he be a good player in Madden coming up next season? Could he be that guy that someone says, oh, I really could use a guy like that?
Yeah, my theory is I used the Packers in another franchise. James Jones is a decent number 3 wide receiver. Preferably not out of the slot, so he's not a typical slot receiver. Average hands, average speed, decent route runner. So, take it as what it is.
Well, I think you're right. I don't think it's not a big name by any means, but I think if he starts losing these guys, it could have some effect. What do you think? What do you think, Lloyd?
I don't think James Jones is going to be much of an impact player if anybody picks him up or plans on it. I think Manny's just going to ride the Ray Rice train as much as he can this year, and
It's not a bad train to ride.
not at all.
I'm interested to see the possible free agents because I know, we talk about the draft, but, another thing that people always get excited for is free agency. Now let's look at the Falcons roster just for kicks and giggles, if you will. He's got Matt Ryan, Michael Turner, Julio Jones, all need to be re-signed this season. All 92 overalls, all need to be re-signed. That's not going to be cheap. I'm not sure how much money he has, but that's not going to be cheap.
No, it's not going to be cheap, but he's going to try to find a way to get it done because those are the three guys that steer the ship.
You guys think he'll sign all three of them?
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I would think so. I think if one goes, it's probably going to be Turner.
Turner.
But yeah, I think he'll. You got to find a way to make it work.
Yeah, he's got $46 million.
Yeah.
Free cap space right now. So.
Let me read some of Turner's stats, and we'll see if you guys would keep him because I'd almost let him walk. Now, if he doesn't got a wide receiver or a running back, then you got to keep him. But he doesn't have a wow thing, but he's got 87 speed, 85 strength, 97 awareness, 98 truck. He's not the most elusive guy, so he's only got 70 elusiveness. 98 ball carrying vision, but I don't really think that factors in too much. The stiff arm, and he's got 98 carrying. Other than that, he doesn't really have much. He can't catch the ball for anything. He's got 55 catching, 55 route running. If he's in traffic, he'll drop it for sure. He's probably got one of the lowest catching traffic I've ever seen from a running back in 30. So, would you guys keep this guy? I mean, I know he's 92 overall, seems nice, but
I would because he's probably, unless he gets a decent draft pick, he's gonna have to find a replacement. So it's like, okay, yeah, you're gonna drop this guy, but who's gonna replace him? So, and a type of runner like him, he can run inside with the best of them. So
I don't know.
He's not gonna break it for a long run, but
I like this Rogers kid out of Oregon State, 81 overall.
yeah, he's I know him pretty well. He's pretty much a good inside runner, also. So he's like he's kind of like a Turner type.
He's 5'6", but he's got 94 carry. For a small guy like that, you don't see that 96 carry just thrown around. I don't know. I'd almost give him the rock, but we'll see what happens. Another team we can go to real quick is the Colts. And I don't know if Lord knows this guy from playing in the AFC or not, but the Colts are very interesting to me. What he'll do, where he'll do it, let me try to pull up the roster. And I think he had a lot of guys on defense as I pull up the roster. Here we go. Dallas Clark is his probably his biggest offensive free agent he needs to sign. Do you let Dallas walk? He's 94 overall. He's definitely getting up there.
No, I wouldn't let him go at all.
I can say from playing him.
I can't imagine he's that close on cap where he's going to have to make a decision on Clark.
I don't think so. I played this guy this season. It was a very good game. He went to two guys primarily. He went to Wayne and he went to Clark. I don't see this guy going anywhere. I was just playing devil's advocate, but I don't see this guy going anywhere. He's still got. You don't got to be. Now the draft is kind of messed up, and Sox knows this. He's got Cole, you got Jimmy Graham, you got Jamie Brooks from the Falcons. You got all these fast guys, and you think, oh wow, the tight ends, they got to be. Those guys are rare for one thing, but Clark still got 87 speed for a guy who 12th in the league. That's not bad.
No, it's not. He's still viable. for the red zone threats also.
And I haven't researched this, but I would say he's got the best route running for any tight end in the league. He's 98 route running.
Yeah, you're not gonna find that too often.
And he's still got 87 speed, so it's not like he's slowed down dramatically. I would keep this guy. He's got 88 catching traffic, so the guy can still catch the balls. And the one that's very interesting, though, he's got three running backs that need to be resigned. Carter, Joseph Adai, and Donald Brown. Do all three of those guys get resigned? I don't think so, but what guy do you let go of and what guy do you keep?
Yeah, I know he had a die on his trade block, which, looking at his stats, he did better than you would think. 7.2 yards per carry he averaged with them, which I think is dang good for looking at Adai's attributes. He does know how to run the ball.
He did run the ball very well. I don't think Adai's attributes are that bad. The only thing that scares me is he's got 91 stamina, but 79 injury. For a running back, that's kind of scary. He's still got 90 speed, still got 70 route running for a running back. That's very good. He's still got 88 carry, or 86 carry, which isn't bad. I think he will let him go though, and just kind of test the market. Maybe sign him back in free agency. There's always that possibility, and it's something we don't always talk a lot about. But some of these contract demands, even in the game, can get kind of weary. I know I released Nate Burleson into the free agent bid because he was making as much as Calvin Johnson was making. He was making $5 million a year. I'm gonna try to sign him back, but I want him more for like 3, a year, not 5. So I think if that could happen, it could be good. But I don't know if he'll sign all 3 of them. I like Stocks always says, too many cooks in the kitchen. I don't know if you can get the right ingredients for that to work. Donald Brown, he's kind of been a bust in real life, and Madden really hadn't been nice to him. He's only 71 overall. I think it's time for him to go too. But I think you keep Carter and you possibly keep Joseph Adai. Any other teams you guys want to talk about? Like, you got Lord here. We can talk about Lord's team if you want. He might want to keep it top secret, though. He might not want to give away his draft plans. So I didn't know how much you want to go in there. But is there any team that you want to talk about? Any team that doesn't get any love?
I don't know.
Why you think? I'll tell you this. There's a lot of guys, and during the playoffs, guys like me are probably never going to make it to the playoffs. Lord's never been to the playoffs. I know Runner's never been to the playoffs. There's guys like this that we work really hard. We build the best teams. The best thing about the offseason, I think you guys would agree, is everyone's a player. Everyone's going to bid. Everyone's going to have to re-sign players. It's a really competitive, fun time because everyone is involved. In the playoffs, not all the time is everyone involved. And Stocks, Mike Williams needs to be resigned. Is that the reason you gave me Mike Williams the other year? Because you were hoping he would go to free agency?
No, not necessarily. No.
I don't think he is. I think I'll find room for him.
Yeah.
Sean Rogers, I want to talk about this guy really quick. I don't usually talk about my team a lot. I try to talk about other teams, but this guy, 14 years in the league, fellas, he's still dominant. Maybe not, he's not the, oh my God, household defensive tackle anymore, but he's still got 94 power move, 95 block shedding, 97 strength. And he's an old school defensive tackle. I mean, he's 350. But for 35 years old, to have that strength still and that block shed, I'll take it.
Well, I think, I passed on another guy, but I think I got someone here, Olin Cruz, 17 years, and I thought I was going to have to look for another center this year. Nope, he's back for another year, 17th year in the season, 37 years old. He's still got 90 strength. He's got his pass blocker is 85. Run block 83. So, that's not bad for a guy 37 years old.
I got two topics and I'll let you go. Doesn't that make Manny really angry? He's got a career-ending injury, and we're talking about a guy of 14 years in the league and 17 years in the league still chugging along. That's gotta irk him just a little bit. But a team that's right there, and I don't know if you guys agree or not, but the Cardinals. The Cardinals doesn't get any love. He does great things. He's got a phenomenal run game. This year, is this the year he adds something, or, do you add something, or do you keep, doing what you're doing? Because he seems to be very good and almost, gets there, almost does something spectacular, and then doesn't. Does he need to really put his eggs in the basket for, like, a big-name free agent? I don't know who that could be. He's got some work to do on his own team. Beanie Wells, maybe. But he should have some room.
Yeah, we watched the Cardinals go, and you kind of thought he would, make that, divisional, playoff win, or, even make it to the conference finals. And it's just, maybe he just always talked about the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, he's got Patrick Peterson, but I think he needs that one more player to help him out, to get him off the field.
Do you sign Adrian Wilson? Yes or no for both of you guys?
Yes.
Forward? See, he fell asleep. See, I guess we're just a boring podcast. Stocks is over here daydreaming. Ward fell asleep, so I think that tells us we kind of need to wrap things up. But I think, yeah, I agree. I think you need to sign Adrian Wilson, 92 overall, because with Adrian Wilson and Patrick Peterson, that secondary becomes scary. I was surprised what I did to Patrick Peterson when we played him. Kelvin Johnson had one of his best games of the year, and he was matched up on Patrick Peterson quite a bit. That being said, Patrick Peterson probably is the best corner. In the game. He's 97 speed. 99 man, 95 zone, 93 press. The guy can really do it. 72 hit power. Isn't that the craziest hit power you ever seen from a corner?
Yeah, and he's good on punt and kick returns.
And he's got 80 spectacular catch. This guy, honestly, this guy might be able to line up and play wide receiver. He's got, no, honestly, man, he's got 82 catch, 80 spectacular catch, 74 carry. He could be with these mad stats, he could be a transformational guy where he goes from offense to defense. I don't know. I'm kind of the guy, if I was out of the playoffs, and I don't expect the Cardinals to be out of the playoffs, but if I was out of the playoff race, I would just have some fun. I would line him up at wide receiver. Why not?
Exactly.
97 speed, 80 spectacular catch, and 82 catch. Now, he can catch in traffic, too. He's got 65 catch in traffic. I would... Dude, that's intriguing. I want to say Patrick Peterson, to play corner, to play wide receiver. But that just shows you how good of an athlete he is. And I expect him to have, I'm going to go for it. I think he'll have 10 interceptions. And while we wind down here, I'll ask you one more thing. Who's the player that's going to surprise a lot of people? Who's the player that's going to break out, and who do you expect the MVP to be? I know this is early, but this is the fun of it.
Jeez, you jump at the gun. We haven't.
I know, that's the fun, man.
Jump at the gun. I can't even think, man.
We're going back to old school. We're gonna wing it. Oh no! But I think Patrick Peterson's gonna make an impact. I think.
Of course he's gonna make. He has to. He's just the type of player that. He's unbelievable. So, yeah, of course. But to do it over the whole year, I think, it goes back, I think, the quarterback, whoever makes the least amount of mistakes is going to, make or break that season, I think.
We joke around a lot, but really it comes down to matchups. Everyone can beat everyone in this league, and that's the scary part. And, almost devil's advocate about this. But Yeah, and we have lost Lord. Maybe his kids came home and started yelling.
Yeah.
He had to get out, but but that's the beauty about this is we have all these players, and it really just depends on matchups. You know, I got to play the championship division this year. I got to play in the Steelers division and the Ravens. You know, as if my division wasn't tough enough, huh? But I'm excited though. I get to play the champions. I don't care if I make the playoffs or not. It should be fun, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're going to be putting some pressure on you this year.
I guess. I mean,
I think we're going to start drilling you.
LaShore and Steven Jackson should be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should be all right. We're gonna get out of here, man. Thanks for joining us.
I think we killed some of our listeners tonight. It wasn't the best, but it was due.
I think, like I said, we're gonna. Hey, if you don't like it, we're gonna get back to having fun. We're not really gonna break down a lot of stats anymore because that caused too many problems. To be honest, we were looking at the stats and we weren't looking at the fun aspects of the game. We weren't looking at wins and losses. We were looking at this and that and who's the MVP and all these things. I just think we had to get back to the basics. And so I know this isn't for everyone. Some people want the stats, but that's what that's why the XFN website's here. You can go and look at them yourself. We will look at stats from time to time, but I think stats kind of ruin Madden if you ask me.
Yeah, because they get inflated.
These high-scoring games, the matchups, that's what really matters to me. Who am I playing, and can I have a good game with that guy? I don't care if Kelvin Johnson has 200 yards or 30 yards, as long as he makes the big plays when I throw it to him. That's all that matters to me is the wins and losses. So I think that's what we need to focus more on this season, and I think that's what we will. And if it kills some listeners, so be it. We're gonna get out of here though. Peace.
Peace.